Hello everybody, it's Distilled. Today I wanted to talk about the Sabre Raven and more generally uh, other EMP enabled ships such as the Warlock and the Hawk, and I think there's a few more in concept or that will be out soon. But I posted a video a few days ago on the subreddit of just some general gameplay. I was doing some bounties and I was approaching my bounty and I saw there were two other players that were about to kill him, and I used my Raven EMP to disable him, take him out, and then take out the bounty. But the discussion that followed in the subreddit, it occurred to me that there's a lot of like not misinformation, but doesn't seem the EMP ships seem to be somewhat rare. Not very many people have them, and so just general gameplay and knowledge of EMPs seems to be lacking. And I wanted to show some stuff. I've got probably around 500 hours or so flying the Raven, most of that in combat because that's what I like to do. And I've learned quite a few things, and that's kind of what I wanted to show you. So I'm going to start off here by just kind of showing you my MFD setup, how I run it. Actually, I run it like this, but for demonstration purposes later with the shields, I'm going to throw it up here so it's a little easier to see. But let me just go over pretty much everything, and I'll give you some tips and tricks and try to clear some things up. First off, this is all default loadout on the Raven. This would be my quantum drive, ping, sonic lights are the power plants, bracers are the coolers, the three shimmers, those are the shields. I've got 2x size 3 corolla laser autocannons, and the Tromag burst generators. There's 2 of them as well, and then thrusters. Now let me just go ahead and do a short demonstration, everything default, and kind of show you the pitfalls that come with just a straight up default loadout, and how we're going to mitigate those and improve on it. So first off, by default EMP is always disabled, so you have to manually turn it on. You can do that down here or over here. I normally do it over here. Now I don't know if this applies to other EMP ships, but in the Raven it always says off there. What's important is to see that it's drawing power here. That means it's on. You can see it's on over here as well. And let me just go ahead and spool it up. Now a lot of people, you may or may not know this, but when a ship uses an EMP burst, it also damages its own shields, and you'll see that here in a second. And let me switch this back. Weapons. Alright, so I'm going to pop this EMP, and you'll see that what happens to my shield as well. Now it is fully disabled, all 4 sides of the shields, and now they're starting to regenerate. Now I'm also going to start charging the EMP as soon as it lets me. There we go. It is the cooldown in between EMPs is 12 seconds. Now watch what happens here. First of all, these are regenerating quite slowly. The EMP charge stops and holds at 73%, and you can see over here in the power, this red area here means that it is struggling, doesn't have enough power to distribute to everything. You can also see that down here. Now once these shields are back to 100%, you'll see up here, then the EMP finishes off charging. Now that's a problem, and let me just go ahead and shut them off. That is an issue. First issue is that, one, we lose our shields as well, and is there anything that we can do about that? Two, not only are we having massive power issues, and keep in mind I'm sitting still, so I'm not drawing any power by using my thrusters. If I were moving around, the ship's going to fly like a turd. It's not going to be responsive at all. It's going to be drawing even more power doing that, which means the shields are going to regenerate even slower, and the EMP charge is going to, 73. I got it up to 73%, not moving at all, so it's going to be even less than that. Let me go over some stats here. I have done quite a bit of testing, and so the EMP charge time, 14 seconds. That's how long it takes to get from 0 to 100. The shield recharge time, roughly 38 seconds from the time that you use the EMP burst to till the time it's back to 100%. I've already mentioned, but the EMP cooldown, so the time in between using a burst and then beginning to charge another burst, is 12 seconds. Alright, so like I said, one of the major issues is that we lose our own shields. Is there anything we can do about that? And the answer is yes. Now, what I normally do is I will come down here and I will push full power to the front. And the one thing that really annoys me is you can't get 250 and then 50 on the right. There's always one side is 51. Annoys me, but whatever. And you can see up in the top left, there's a much larger front shield than the other three. Now the reason that you do that, and I'll just demonstrate that again. Weapons on. Oh, now it shows on, but it's not on. Weird. At least it stayed on. Alright, so let's just do that same thing again. The only difference being full power to the front. So just to remind you, our front shield is 249. And when I pop this, it took off exactly 100. All the rest still dropped to 0. Obviously, they can't go negative. But the good thing is, I've used my EMP burst, which means I got to be up close to the enemy. If their shields were full when I hit them, that means, yes, their shields are down. So are mine. Well, not in this case, but it's going to take another EMP burst in order to shut their ship off or disable them. So in the meantime, they're still firing back. But that whole time, I maintained at least 149, I don't want to call them hit points, but 149%, I guess, of the normal power on those shields. So if I'm strafing around, if I'm fighting some dogfighting, and I can strafe around, I can keep them ahead of me, and if they are hitting me, well, at least I have a front shield, and I keep that front shield the whole time. Now that doesn't affect at all, like if I were to have started charging another EMP, again, I would have ran into power issues. It doesn't change that at all. So what do? So with just the default loadout, if we're working with the default loadout, what we want to do is one thing I always do is if I'm not using something, I don't have it turned on. So if I'm not quantum traveling, then I turn it off. If I'm not, pinging or looking for somebody, I turn it off. That saves us, it's not a whole lot, but it is gonna make a difference. So that saves us 74 power. Now overclock your power generators, overclock your coolers. With the straight up stock loadout, you can't overclock the shields. They'll overheat and drop, so that's not good. You could, well, like I said, if I'm not using it, I have it turned off, but anytime I'm engaging somebody, I have all these turned on. So, but you can overclock your burst generators as well. That will change the EMP charge time. Let's see, I have it written down, from 14 seconds normally to 10 seconds charge time. So you save yourself 4 seconds on the time that it takes to charge. So let's give this another shot here. I'm going to do 2 EMP bursts just to show you that we do get rid of that power issue. You can see it's charging a little bit faster as well. Alright. Now if you'll see here, if you kind of keep an eye over here, the power draw, it's not, well, once I start charging this EMP, we're not going to hit that power draw issue here. Oh, actually, okay. For a split second, we did. Don't mind the system overheating right now. As of right now, that's not an issue. Later on down the road, when they add in wear and tear, then it would be an issue. But right now, you don't have to worry about it. And again, this is just a stock loadout. So, yeah, there you have it. So, with the default loadout, those are the things you can do. Oh, by the way, I didn't point it out, but I typically adjust the priorities. I run 40, 40, 20. No particular reason why. I've played around with it. At one point, I did 51, 49. I don't even really remember why I didn't do 50-50 and why I did it 51-49. There was a reason. I don't know, but I now only fly my Raven with upgraded components. So I've just switched it to 40, 40, 20. But yeah, now I'm going to cut the video here. I'm going to upgrade my ship and show you how I typically run it and the benefits of that. Alright, I'm back here. I've thrown some upgrades on the ship and I'm just going to go over those now. Alright, what we have done, bracers are the same. Alright, so the power plant, I have swapped out the shimmer and put in the Delta Max. Sorry, my phone was going off. Swapped in the Delta Max and also the Sonic Light. I'm sorry, the shimmer is the default shield. So I've swapped out the shimmer, thrown in the Targa shield generators. The Delta Max is replacing the Sonic Light power plant, which is default. Alright, everything else is the same. And let me just go ahead and, without overclocking or any of that, let me just go ahead and show you the difference. The EMP charge time is going to be the same, 14 seconds, unless overclocked. As you can see here, 100% on each side, and would you look at that? We have 33% remaining on each side. They start recharging even quicker because they weren't fully disabled. And let's go ahead and charge the EMP while those are recharging. And no issues at all. They did recharge a bit slower while the EMP was charging, but you can see the EMP still got to 100% and didn't get stuck at 73 or whatever it was before. Alright, but the way that I usually do it, the way I'm usually flying, if you catch me out and about, I've got my coolers overclocked. I turn off ping and drift unless I'm using them. Delta Max power plants, gonna overclock those as well. It is possible to overclock the shields. I'll just go ahead and do it to show you. Let's see. So there you go. It's actually possible to overclock. I don't ever overclock my autocannons, just I don't know. I just don't. It's possible you can do it. I mean, I have done it. That's just not how I normally run it. And you can see here we've got plenty of power, remaining to use. It does run a bit hotter. You can see my IR signatures hovering around 12,000, and that's not even charging the EMP yet. But you can have 151% on each side. You can do it. I don't normally do it. But you can if you want. But I do still go full shields in the front. Yep. And oh, I'll turn that back on. All right, so let me go over some of these numbers here, the differences between the two loadouts. Put some screenshots up on the screen here. So with the default loadout, it requires 2,324 power generation or power to run the ship. With the upgrade, it only requires 2,055. Not only does it require less power to run it, but we can also generate more power if needed. With the default, it had a max of 3060. With the upgrade, we can generate 3,214. We've also dropped our EM signature from 7148 to 5818, so about 1,300, somewhere around there, which is great. Default loadout requires about 302 cooling per second. With the upgrade, we only require 241 per second, so that's great. Our IR signature has dropped from 12,532 down to 10,287, so an decrease rather, of about 2,200. This is one thing I found interesting. Just by changing and I actually just noticed this as I was getting ready to make the video. I didn't notice it when I took the original screenshots, but just by swapping out the shield generators and the power plants, not changing the weapons at all, with the same weapon, our sustained DPS jumps from 230 to 287, so an increase of 57, which I thought was pretty cool. I don't know if that's true, but I mean, if it is, great. Our total shields, with the old shields, or with the default, we have a max or a total of 3,600 hit points. With the upgrade, we have 5,400, so an increase of 1,800 hit points, which is fantastic. Let's see here. So the upgrades individually, the Shimmer shield generators generate 1,200 per second, or have 1,200 hit points each. We got 3 of them. The Targa jumps us up to 1,800 each. Not only does it increase our shield hit points, but it also requires also emits half of the EM that the stock shields do. So it falls from 180 to 90. It also generates less heat, dropping from 1038 down to 629. Requires half the power, 90 down from 180, and requires roughly half of the cooling, 9.89 per second, down from 17.9. So literally it is a direct upgrade on all fronts as far as the shield. The Sonic Light power plant gets upgraded to the Delta Max power plant. That jumps us up from 1530 power generation per second up to 1607, while also dropping our EM from 1975 down to 1439, our IR down from 1205 to 725, and our cooling down from 69.7 to 51.3. And you can see again the Quarreler cannons go from 115 sustained DPS to 144 sustained DPS each. So yeah, there's the numbers. You can see in game what the direct benefits. I'll just go ahead and show here again. I'll do 2 bursts back to back, and you can kind of see what it's like. If you have an EMP ship, I highly sorry, that's it's kind of loud. I highly recommend making these upgrades. I feel like it's crucial. It's almost if I have to play with the default loadout, I find it quite unplayable. I mean, it's not fun. It's too much um, power management involved, and it's just it flies like a turd unless you upgrade it. I forgot to do back-to-back ones, but it doesn't really matter. You can see the benefits directly, so I'll do it again here before I close it off. But in this one, actually, I'll just go ahead and... Oh, I did already have them overclocked. Alright, well. So, yep, there you go. You can see that I didn't get the three, so the two side shields and then the rear shield didn't get nearly charged back to their full capacity, around 50, by the time I popped that second one. But I'm not worried about that because I've always got at least 149 on a front shield at all times. And if I do have to turn and run, if I'm getting my ass kicked, or other ships come in to help and I gotta turn tail and run, then I just press it. For me, it's 5 on my number pad. I don't know if that's, I use the advanced keyboard layout. I hit 5 on my number pad, it resets it. I might even hit 2 on my number pad and add a little bit to the back, turn tail and haul ass out of there. But yeah, those are some things I wanted to point out. I hope that it was informative and helped you guys if you have a Raven or any other, be the Warlock or the Hawk. I don't know. I don't have either of those ships. I would guess that they would benefit from everything I've shown you here. It may require different shield generators or power plants or whatever, but the whole shield management thing that I pointed out, that should still hold true. I don't know if you guys have one of those ships. I'd be interested in if you guys try it out and let me know. If you got any questions, leave them down in the comments. Send me a message. If it did help you out or you found it informative, throw me a like. It really helps. Yeah, so I appreciate it. I will see you guys around, and I'll try to put some gameplay videos up in the Raven very soon. I have been recording them, so I'd like to get something together for you guys. But yeah, in the meantime, I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time.